So for those of you who are new to the academy, we do mindset training. We do like half an hour every week, and I kind of wanted to catch you guys up on what the rest of the team's been working on. So, and why mindset's so important is cheerleading is a competition of the mind. It's more about making sure, because technically you guys are the best cheerleaders in New Zealand, and that's why you're here. You're really good at what you do, but it's being able to do it under pressure, and it's being able to psychologically do it, as well as taking personal responsibility for yourselves as an athlete to be able to be with the team and be on the same page as the team. So our first few lessons we did with the academy, the first one is good is the enemy of great. That's something I told my Worlds team last year, and it's from a book. It's called Good to Great by a guy called Jim Collins, who's like this business teacher. But what I took from that, and what I think is really, really important, is that you can be okay with being okay. You can be okay with going, oh my goodness, I've made it, I'm now part of the academy, so that means I'm good enough. But when you go to a World Championship, good enough is not good enough. So if you can do something just good or average, it's okay to get complacent and be just going with the flow and not being able to reach the peak. So in high performance sport like we are in, and when we want to go to the World Championship, we need to be amazing. Good's not going to be good enough, it needs to be great. When we practice the skills that we do, if we aren't doing them to the best of our ability, and sometimes I'll stop you and go, was that the best you could do? And I'll ask people to put their hands up often at practice, and you don't put your hands up, that's the type of thing I'm talking about. So if you can practice perfectly like we'd want you to do at competition, that's what we need from you. We need you to be doing more. We need to be so much better than we've ever been before, because cheerleading gets harder every single year. And I know that you guys are here, and the reason why we've put this team together is we're going to Worlds, and while winning isn't everything, it'd be pretty awesome to win. We're not going to just place, we're not going to be average, we're going to win, and to do that we need to be great. So that's the first lesson to remember, is that when we're pushing you for more and hold each other accountable, we need you guys to do that as well. We need you to be doing more than you're currently doing to be great. Quite often when we go to a World Championship, there's a standard. There's the international teams and there's the American teams. We don't want to hear, oh, they're really good for international. We need to step up to that next level. So we really got to do everything that we can to not be complacent, to just be good. Because when you're okay with being good and being good enough in New Zealand or winning in New Zealand, that's just not enough. We've got to be great. So that's the first thing we need to keep remembering, is that good is the enemy of great. So we've got to keep striving for excellence and more all the time. Second important point that we work on here is rewriting your story and reframing your story. So when we're practicing, there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to be fighting for your spot. There's going to be times when you're fighting it out to be a flyer. There's going to be times when you're fighting it out to be on all girl or co-ed or both or ICU, and there's a ton of chances where you may not make the spot that you want, or you're going to feel like we're picking on you, or a whole bunch of things. So rewriting your story is a really important lesson that you can take, and you can take it out of cheerleading into other areas of your life. So rewriting your story looks like, oh my goodness, I'm a flyer and I'm fighting for my spot, that really sucks. Or aren't I lucky to have this privilege of competition with someone else so that I can get better, so my team can get better. So when we're looking at internal competition within the team, that opportunity for you to either see it as a positive or a negative is how you take it. So I remember telling a story a little while ago about the two twins and the dad. So there's two twins. One's an optimist who's really excited, can always see the positive in everything. The other one's a bit negative and whiny and is a pessimist and doesn't see the positive, looks for the negative. So the dad says to the kids, it's their birthday, so the optimist kid, the one who always sees the positive, he filled his room with horse poo, manure. The other one, he filled his room with all the most amazing toys you can imagine, all the way to the top. So you would think that the kid that got all the toys would be really excited, except he was crying and he was upset, and the dad's like, why are you upset? And he's like, well, my friends are going to be jealous, I've got all these toys and there's so many manuals, the batteries are going to break, I don't have time to fix them all. And he was really upset. Whereas the boy that got the manure was so excited and happy, and the dad's like, what are you so happy about? He's like, if there's this much manure, then there's got to be a pony in here. So he was just like, it's the way so it's positive or negative depending on however you think about it. There's going to be times in cheerleading where you're going to feel so down and negative in what we're doing because we're pushing you so hard, and that's what we need to do to make you a world champion. But if you can't rewrite that story for yourself and reframe it into a positive way of doing it, then either you're not going to survive here, or it's going to be really hard for you. And we're not pushing you because we don't like you or because we hate you or it's a negative thing, but it's because we are striving for you guys to be great and excellent. And then the third thing that we did probably in week 3 is redefining winning. So if our goal is to just win worlds and we don't, then we're at the risk of being the biggest loser. So we have to look for other things that we can win at. So like when I took Harry and his team to Worlds and I was like, we're going to win. We all thought we had the best team. We thought we were amazing, and we like didn't. It was heartbreaking, but at the end we had so many other key takeaways. The fact that we got to spend time with amazing people, the fact that we learned a bunch of really cool life lessons, the fact that we didn't fail, I didn't give up and go, okay, that's it, we're never going to Worlds game, we suck, shit, I'm done. We're not good at it. So being able to find the small wins. So for me, when I was talking to Harry, Brian one day about cheerleading and Worlds and stuff, I said, I'm one of the best coaches in New Zealand or the world in coaching cheerleading. Why? Because I've made a ton of mistakes and I've failed so many times that we can now learn from those lessons. And like I did a ton of things wrong. The pace of our routine was wrong. I chose technique over difficulty. There was just so many things that we can now take and learn from. But if I just said, I'm done, it's the 14th time I've been to Worlds and I've never won, I'm giving up, it's over, why bother? Then we wouldn't have this amazing opportunity. But for me, I can look for those small wins and go, you know, we can improve each time, and there's things that we can learn on. You're only a failure if you give up. And I still haven't won Worlds, so I'm not going to give up. And you guys are incredible. That's why I want to bring you guys on this journey. But looking for the small wins. So if practice is a crap practice, or we go for a full out and we don't hit it or whatever, the small wins you can do is you could look for, did I find my breathing spots? Did I do something better in the routine? Is there something else that we can improve on? Before our last competition, we had a dice, and it was, if you didn't do well at your routine, we're going to roll the dice to see how many more full outs you do. And so practice, 4.5 minute routine. So practice finished at 9. It was 10 to 9 and we rolled a 5. And so while I apologized to the parents, we stayed and did those 5 full outs. So Emily, how did you rewrite that story and what was your small win?
We kind of just laughed about it and like knew that it was coming and like
knew that it was good for you, right?
yeah, and we needed it.
So I think so what Emily's saying is that instead of seeing it as a real negative, the way that we reframed that was like, aren't we lucky to have this opportunity to have these extra practices, do these extra full outs so that when we do compete at competition, we can look better. So if there's someone negative in your stunt group or that's floating around, or you feel that it's your job and responsibility to help them reframe their story and look for those small wins. I think also just being surrounded by amazing people and your best friends being at practice and being able to do that with them. This isn't an individual sport, it's a team sport, and you get the opportunity to create lifelong friendships and amazing things. Like I've been to a few weddings lately where the person getting married, their whole cheerleading, or all their bridesmaids are cheerleaders. So boys, that obviously doesn't relate to you guys, but there's that opportunity for you guys to create so much more than just winning at Worlds. And that's kind of what we need to do. If we aren't all on the same page, then we're going to have problems. And if you're new, it's tough. We're not here to be your best friend. We're here to coach you and mentor you to be better and stronger. So when it gets tough, what we need you to do is remember these things. Remember that we're pushing you to be great, because that's what we need to be at a World Championship. We're pushing you to look to things that you can rewrite your story, because you can use this outside of cheerleading. And then also we're looking for you to find the positives and the small wins so that you can stay optimistic about everything. And we say positive Polly and not a negative Nancy. You have something like, I don't know, 50,000 thoughts every day or at hour or something. And so you need to kind of be a watcher in your brain to go, what radio station am I playing? Is it positive? Is it negative? What is it? And then when you can hear those negative comments, that's when you go, okay, what's my small win? What can I look for as a win? How can I rewrite it to turn it into something more positive? Yeah.
It's good because it helps with life skills and every day you can use them to do better in life. You can like take them into like school, work, like anything you are doing. If I'm like stuck on something, I always like remember this and like I always go back on it and be like, oh, actually I did do something right, and then like I find the good out of the bad stuff.